FIFA louder than a speaker. Yeah, my niece is hanging with the Beatles. If you ever find a better keeper, 37 cameras for the sneakers. Going out like Arthur Benny Siegel.
Yo, welcome to WWTA Gaming. WWTA Gaming. Hey, thank you for coming back for another episode. I know everything's changing up, the journey's changing. We're trying to make things work better, make it suitable and get this content to you in a great viewable way. So yeah, we're working on it. Thank you for sticking in there. Now, this go round, as we get ready to close out the year 2022, right? I know everybody done celebrated that holiday and they're looking at that new year starting. So I wanted to go ahead and talk about those third-person looter shooters. And yes, those things I truly enjoy, so you'll hear me talking about those on the channel a lot. All right, so there are quite the few in existence. Right now we're looking at Arc Raiders, which is very interesting. I'm not sure about the release date. Nonetheless, let them take their time. The game looks awesome, and you're going to see a lot of different clips throughout this video of looter shooters, third-person looter shooters that are on the way. But before we really talk about these looter shooters, there's some important stuff we should probably discuss. So a lot of these titles are essentially into the next generation of gaming technology. And I myself was a little behind. So I'm going to say, if you're on your PC, because this is the PC gaming channel, we talk that. So if you're on your PC, you might be looking to, if you have not already, started making some improvements to your PC, which might involve a new motherboard. Me, myself, I had to do that. And I had actually just bumped up to like an AM4 motherboard. And then from that, I had gotten my first chip, which was a 2-core AMD 3rd Gen Zen or whatever. And of course, that was just not it. So I bumped it up again to a 4-core 8-thread Zen 3. And I will be looking to get that to a 6-core 12-thread. That's the next step. One step at a time, ain't nobody rich, so I'm just helping you all understand some of the movements you might want to be making, because you might cut some of these games on and find out the hard way, like I did, is that your computer doesn't want to run them. So changes have to be made. Now we talked about the motherboard and CPU. I ended up having to, of course, the motherboard allowed me newer technology, which allowed me to use a faster memory, as well as it allowed me access to slots on this motherboard, which will allow me to use these new SSDs. So that technology I'm taking advantage of as well. And so I'm on the cheap side. I'm not rich. I know you see a lot of these YouTubers getting these i9 chips. These new Ryzen chips, they're spending $900 for these chips. They're spending $800 for these boards. They're getting, 3264, a maximum amount of memory. They're getting freaking 3090s, 3080s, 4080s, 4090s, and so they're at the top of the food chain, and they're spending $5, $6, $7, $8, $9, $10,000 to do this stuff. Now, this is WWTA Gaming, and we're not rich over here. We're not rich, so we can't do that. And I'm just going to share the thoughts and ideas that you might want to use if you're not able to do that, because I'm not. Let's just be real, I can't do that either. Now, what I did was, after upgrading that board to an AM4, older technology, but it's still better than what I had, increasing that chip and then increasing the memory to now being able to use the DDR4. I know DDR5 exists, but I'm not in that technology. I'll get there one day. So being able to use that DDR4 and then upgrading the graphics card. You you have NVIDIA and you have AMD. So NVIDIA, entry level is something like a 3050. 3050 offers, I believe, a 10 gigs of RAM on their card, I believe. Um, and then it offers the RTX, which allows you ray tracing, DSLL or the DLSS, whichever one it is, which is somewhere around the what, $250 to $300 range. And then there's what I would definitely choose on the budget side, because I'm a budgeter, is something like a RX 6600 AMD. They also have the RX 6600 XT, I believe, as well as an RX 6650, which is a step up. And those, I believe, compete directly with a 3060 NVIDIA RTX card. So for me personally, what I'm going to say is, in talking about this new gaming, this new age of gaming, right? You're going to probably need to step up to something like that, and you can find these things at a very good price. You can find an RX 6600 AMD for around $200, so you'll find a very good deal on that. And like I said, it's comp with a 3060 NVIDIA, and if you want to just get NVIDIA and you just don't want to deal with AMD, of course the entry level is going to be that 3050, and it does offer that extra technology to help you get great resolution in gaming. So either way you go, it's a win for you. You're just going to be upgrading that board, upgrading that chip, upgrading that memory. You definitely want to get that board with a faster memory, and you definitely, if you're going to be using or playing these new games, you need to have those solid states. You need that solid state to run the operator, and you need your games on those solid states. Now, wow, all that's what you need to be playing these next gen games. Now, if you're an Xbox or PlayStation person, you're pretty much already set in next gen to run these games. This was mainly for the PC heads, because that's where I'm at. I'm a PC head. All right. So there's a few ways you can do it. I'll give you this last little tidbit trick. You can probably pick up something like an i5 or an i7 off eBay. You can get one of those old computers that come out of businesses or offices. I actually did that, and I've got an i5 set up. I'm doing a build on that now, where I'm going to be upgrading the graphics card to something like an RX 6600 or a 6650 XT, which hopefully should give me all of the technology I need to run these games as well. So you can get on like eBay and try that out yourself. You can find those older computers like 80, 90, $100. All you really need is that chip. You're pretty much paying for the chip. Then you can always either upgrade your board, which I did. I actually had to order a new board that I could slot that chip in, that offered the different modules on the board for the use case. So it took a little time to get that. Two weeks, I believe. It came from another country. I haven't plugged it up and tested it yet. Like I said, I'm doing a build on that just for the sake of this this new age of gaming. All right, now that was long-winded. I'm sorry I got that out the way. Keep those things in mind. Let's talk about these games. All right. So you've got so many of these games that are coming out. Right now, you've got a game called Synced that is an open beta. You can get that on Steam now and start trying that out. It is a next-gen looter shooter. It looks pretty good, I've got to say. And again, if you cut the game on, it seems sluggish and jittering or something. Again, we're talking about the build, so you need to look at that. So anyways, that's a pretty interesting looking game, third-person looter shooter. You have the First Descendants, which I was in that beta. I believe they've got another beta coming early in 2023, so I'll definitely be hopping into that. But that also, it was a pretty great game. I gotta say, it keeps reminding me of this other game that actually got discontinued. Nobody plays it, and I'm not sure what's going on. Maybe a lot of people don't know about these looter shooters. I know that I had to go looking and stay conscious of these different games that are coming out, like Arc Raiders. I don't know how many of you are familiar with that, but that itself is awesome looking looter shooter. So, and some of the cool things about these looter shooters that I'm really interested in is the multiplayer group content. Because to me, I think I've said it before, I'll say it again, these to me are nothing but dungeon crawlers. I kind of got into this space with Warframe, and before everybody goes crazy, oh no, he's not talking about Warframe. Yeah, I know. A Warframe really brought me into the fold some years ago, and Warframe has a lot of drawbacks, but that game has content. It has group content. It really lays all that stuff down on the line. It's just, I would say you need to be on something like speed to keep up with it. The game is just obsessively fast paced. And then I guess because it's so fast paced and people can just fly past the enemies, they've increased the difficulty of the game. I believe that's why. But I didn't see them really trying to, go in a more not so crazy. I mean, you have to be. The game is really fast paced. If you've never played it before, go ahead and download it. It's a big download, and try it out. You'll find it. You might like it, and then again, you might not. It's a lot of things going on. It's very fast paced. I mean, it's sliding, jumping, flying, gliding, shooting, jumping, sliding. It's too much, and then the enemies are coming from all over the place, and you never deal with the enemies directly. It's a lot of sliding past and just escaping from it. So I find that to be just too much. It's just too much. So, but that was a good start to come into the looter shooter titles. And so it's still a great game, just not my cup of tea. Like I said, I try to keep up with the updates, but the game is just a mess. It's just a little too fast. It looks great, a lot of content. I mean, the story's great. They've come a long way, but that was the entry level. There's other games out there like Outriders. Now I've gotten on Outriders, and a lot of people have fallen off. You don't see many players on the game, and I kind of feel like they might have lost out with the way their multiplayer is set up. In my opinion, maybe a lot of these games could look to Warframe, not for their crazy speed. It's like all these other titles are great. They're just, if they looked at Warframe maybe and saw how a lot of things exist in that game, and then used it and applied it to their game. I think I've said before, I was a big fan of Destiny. Well, I still am a big fan of Destiny, but Destiny's a first-person view. And so that kind of disconnects me from the game in a sense, because I want to be the person on the outside looking into the fantasy world in those particular types of games. That's just how I feel about it. That's, I'm immersed when I'm from the outside looking in. But nonetheless, you have a lot of these great titles coming out, and we will be able to try them. I mean, have you ever seen these titles before? Of course, you can get in the comment section and share your thoughts and ideas. But, from my opinion, with all these games coming out in the near future, we're definitely going to have to make sure that our PCs are up to par to run them, so that we can enjoy these games. Also, and I'll say this as far as the gaming goes as well, if you can manage to get yourself a monitor running a display port that allows you 2K or 4K resolution, it really changes it even more. Now, I do not run the RX Radeon 6600. I do have available a RTX 3050 with DSLL or DLSS, whichever it is. So trying that out to see how that works on 2K or 4K, especially with the technology to upscale. I'm thinking you'll really enjoy that, because now I'm using my display port on a 29-inch widescreen. I'm able to run it in 2K and up to 4K. And it's night and day. Playing 1080p is cool, but when you are able to run that 2K or 4K, it's night and day. it's night and day. So some of the things you might want to look at as we look at these new titles and new games being released will be upgrading your system. So maybe I'll make a video, talk a little bit more about that upgrading to the system affordably. There are a lot of YouTubers that do that already. Maybe I have to go link their videos to this so you can get to their video and then start following them. But there's a lot of people out there that can show you how to do a budget build and get all the use out of it that you'll need. So anyways, I know this is long-winded. I really just want you guys to see the video feed of these third-person looter shooters, which you should be seeing in the background, and just start thinking about these games and start thinking about upgrading your systems, your PCs, so you'll be able to run them smoothly. Because like I said, it's new tech. It's a new generation of gaming. Things are changing, so we got to stay caught up with the technology. That's all I got for this episode. I hope you all enjoyed, and I'll catch you all in the next one.